Start recording. All right, so welcome back, guys. This is our quote-unquote third, but actually fourth session of Star Trek Adventures. I only have one note that I need to go over before we start the game. As someone has pointed out, we are actually a week behind where we should be if you want to be stingent about the start dates. So it's actually going to be after this session that Voyager will go missing. Doesn't really have a huge impact, but since someone actually messaged me, I thought I'd bring it up. Other than that, I think we're going to have a really good session today. I pretty much did it from scratch, so we'll see also how well my module writing skills have been. But without any further ado, Captain, if you'd like to take us away with your log.
Captain's log, stardate 48315.0. While docked at Narendra Station, the Arcadia has been inspected and has been cleared of any traps and sabotage, Orion or otherwise. Admiral Haru has called in the rest of the nearby fleet under the guise of scanning for a potential biohazard. The Arcadia has been dispatched from regular duty to track down Duskmaul, a Tellarite trader and our current top suspect for the Arcadia's recent sabotage. I have Duskmaul's warp trails and flight plans each lead deeper into the Shackleton Expanse. Our logs show that he left Narendra Station approximately 26 hours ago, but with the Arcadia's engines, catching him should be no challenge.
All right, very good. So to set the scene now, so the very last few engineering and other security personnel have just left the Arcadia to return to Narendra Station. And as soon as they're all gone, a sense of or at least the lingering sense of tension on the ship vanishes. The crew seems extremely eager to get on with your detached mission, especially given the importance of tracking down this individual. So pretty much as soon as Lieutenant Maddock does his own last minute check to make sure that no additional traps or other such devices have been planted on board, he gives the clear to the captain. And Captain Tahan, you more or less go ahead and order Ensign Monday to set in a pursuit course along Duskmaul's ion trail and into the Shackleton Expanse. So it takes about 12 hours to reach the end of Duskmaul's trail, even at the Arcadia's maximum speed of warp 8. The Tellarite was clearly pushing his shuttle's limits to make it this far this quickly. What you find, though, when you drop out of warp is an M-class planet about the size of the Earth's moon orbiting a binary star. As you call up Starfleet records on the system, you get the name of Prya V7H, Prya. I'm just going to call it V7H from now on, just for specialty's sake. But V7H is noted as being a known trade hub for those individuals operating on the border of the Shackleton Expanse who don't want either the Federation or Klingon fingers in their business. While Starfleet vessels and their crew aren't exactly welcome, solar interference makes it a very trivial affair for Ensign Monday to approach the planet undetected and hide the Arcadia in high polar orbit. Finally, Ensign Rochelle does some quick scans of the planet, and it's revealed that Duskmaul has made planetfall and landed his vessel at a spaceport near one of the major cities. Unfortunately, that's the extent of the information he's been able to glean, and it's becoming obvious that further investigation on foot will be required. So we set the first scene up. So you start at zero momentum, I start at base threat, etc., etc. We start with the very first scene of Captain Tahan calling all the senior staff in to the conference room for a meeting.
Do I know what the any regulation on this kind of mission would be? Are we supposed to go down in uniform, not in uniform?
That's entirely up to you as the captain, and it might be a talking point during this meeting.
Yeah. So I'll ask my security officers to give a tactical rundown of the situation.
Okay. So since Ujessa is in attendance, she says, "Well, Captain, I think it's fairly obvious that any individual that beams down had best not be displaying any Starfleet insignia. I think it's also probably prudent to note that while I would love to beam down to the planet and assist in operations, it occurs to me that a Klingon would stick out like a sore thumb, especially since, given the nature of the system and the planet, I might personally draw too much attention. But..." And she kind of pauses and almost bites her lip, which is rare for a Klingon. She says, I realize you need some extra muscle, and I would be willing to send in my place someone else if you'd like.
Mm.
Also, Nalan, side note, we're getting a little bit of feedback from your mic, just so you know.
All right, so we will need to form an away team. However, certain roles on the ship will be needed. Ujessa, you'll have the bridge. I believe I'll be down with the rest of the away party.
She kind of looks at you very strangely, like she's not quite sure whether she should say anything, but she seems to think better of it.
Any thoughts from the rest of my staff?
Let's see.
How are we going to get down to the planet?
Are we not in tractor beam range or transporter range?
You can beam down to the planet.
Okay. It seems all we need to do is locate and extract the Tellarite, perhaps with some kind of transporter lock, if we can pin one on him.
How are we going to pin down the correct Tellarite?
Well, I have a brief dossier on him, so we'll be able to recognize him. But the rest will be asking the right people for help.
What are we going to do? Like, pin a comm badge on him, or?
We could. Or if we can modify a distinct device that doesn't have the Federation emblem. Starfleet Delta.
So, Nalan, a note I would have for you is that as you're telepathic in nature, since you're a betazoid, if you want to roll me a insight plus science at a difficulty of 1, we'll see if you can glean anything for your telepathic senses to seek out based on the dossier that you've been provided.
Okay, and you said difficulty 1?
Correct.
Okay. Sorry.
Very good, and you get a momentum. So,
right.
Lieutenant Nalan, you think as you read over this dossier that while telepathic senses are less of a definite and more of a inexact science, you think that if you get close enough to where the Tellarite is on the planet, you'll be able to pick out his distinct thought pattern, or at least you'll be able to sense other Tellarite presences. Like each species of the Federation and of the galaxy at large, each has its own telepathic signature. So it's just a matter of you honing in on that particular one.
Okay. All right. If we can get close enough, I can maybe pick him out, but who knows how long that'll take us.
I think that's going to be a useful skill for us to have. But before I go down there, I want to get some more scans of the planet and see. It's my instinct that there's probably a lot of goings on this planet that they don't want the Federation to know about. And while that's not why we're here, I don't want to go in unprepared. I want to know what we're dealing with. Are they smuggling weapons, drugs, anything that can help me better understand what we're walking into is going to be useful.
Okay. So Rochelle will briefly step up and go over to a station in the conference room and quickly run a scan from there. And I'll go ahead and roll for him since he's not here yet. So let's see.
So what's the difficulty?
It's only difficulty 1.
Does that get reduced to 0 for our sensors?
It does indeed.
Okay.
I actually was waiting to see if anyone would bring it up or if I had to. We're learning! Yay! Alright, number of D22, applicable focus, yep. Oh wow, he knocked the hell out of that, so you get 3 momentum.
I assume the ship is also assisting?
Oh, if I roll for the ship, you're probably gonna, get a 4th. So why not? I believe for the ship would be assisting with sensors plus sensors plus science.
Okay. I'm going to be as greedy as possible.
Yeah, I would say it can't hurt you. Alright, so you get another momentum.
Alright, so we're at 3.
Yep.
Cool.
So what Rochelle learns and relays to the rest of you is that, much as Tahan expects, there are a multitude of different contraband, smuggling, etc. things going on the planet. In particular, he points out 2 things in the scan. One is the presence of biological weapons. They seem to be concentrated mostly around the spaceport, so almost as if they're kind of acting like Ferengi in wartime and just selling off, dangerous kind of weaponry. And then he'll also note that while the sensors aren't able to exactly pinpoint individuals, he does confirm Ujessa's earlier assumption, and that there are no Klingons on this planet. They are mostly Orion, Gorn, Tellarite, and some other species which don't match up with anything that Starfleet has on record.
Do we have any directive to interfere whenever we find biological weapons?
So, I would say I would normally make you roll for this, but I'm just going to give it to you as a freebie. So, you would know that part of Starfleet's mission is to prevent the transport and deployment of such weapons, but at the same time, it's a matter of, do you really want to reveal yourselves to make a big stink of it? Is this still a directive you want to follow, or do you want to stick to the primary mission kind of a thing?
Okay. I do, it does concern me that these are here because this is so close to Federation space, but perhaps that is a mission for tomorrow, not today.
All right. So Rochelle sits back down, and Doré will actually speak up at this point, and he'll say, well, as far as disguises go, I don't think it'll be any difficulty you guys going down looking like humans. And he turns to Ujessa and he says, who's this replacement that you had in mind? And Ujessa kind of shrugs and says, well, our best muscle, again, as much as I'm loath to admit it, after myself, is probably Chief Helong. After that, probably Lieutenant Cyril, Ensign Rouge, or Ensign Lowe's. I would definitely recommend at least taking along Helong, if not Cyril.
Well, it looks like Hai Long will be on her first away mission with the captain and the rest of us. Rochelle, I would like you to stay on board and keep a transporter lock on us. This is also because I believe, because we are without his player.
Yep. All right, so he says, aye, Captain, I can do that.
Let me see. I'm gonna look to the rest of the other player characters, and just kind of probe their interest in the away mission.
If you believe I'm needed, I can certainly come along.
Certainly, Counselor. I would like you to join us, as well as Ensign Monday and Matic.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Captain, can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
In Rashod's scans, has he picked up any warp signals or warp, warp signals that seem familiar? Ones that we've ran into, like, I don't know, Orion that attacked us?
Fair question. I would say the solar interference makes it very difficult to pick out warp trails. The only reason you were able to get this far with Duskmaul's is because his trail ended at the edge of the system. So there's this kind of a block between the sun and the planet, and then they, probably a good distance beyond the planet itself, which is just bathed in this interference.
All right. My suggestion, Captain, is because we did just get attacked by an Orion, I'm sure she would recognize anyone who was on the bridge whenever she came on the screen.
Perhaps you could get a scan of the ships in the system.
Okay. I won't roll for it, but basically between the interference and your polar orbit, your sensors are really only able to pick out about 3 other ships in the system, and 2 of them are Tellarite trader vessels, and the other one is a what looks to be some form of Gorn. I wouldn't call it a cruiser, but a medium-sized Gorn vessel. And all of them seem to be kind of parked in orbit around the planet.
Okay. Sorry, I cut you off, Matic.
I was just saying, probably be best if we had disguises of some sort, or if the doc could give us fake scars or something to make us look a little different than, a bunch of cut and dry Starfleet officers.
Well, I've got an idea. It's a bit outlandish, though.
I'm open to suggestions.
We take the Wave Rider. We paint it up, we change the transponder code on it, and we turn it into our own little smuggling vessel, if you like. And we just fly down there on the Wave Rider, as if we've got our own business to conduct, and we're legit seedy people.
I appreciate you wanting to take the Wave Rider out for a spin, but perhaps now's not the time. I think transporting in will be the safest option.
Look, I'm not an expert with transporters and that, but don't they have quite a unique signature to them? Won't they be detected?
So Richaud will chip in here, and he says, "You're not entirely wrong, Monday. It's just that, to put it bluntly, flying the Wave Rider down, even if we do paint it and change its transponder code, it's more than likely that they'll pick it up still as a Federation vessel, which would immediately play our hand."
I just hold my hands up.
Matic, is there anything you can do to alter our transporter signature, or disguise it with the sun's interference?
I'm sure there's some magic I can work, Captain. Only thing is are we knowing for sure if we're able to even transport down due to the interference, or if communication's even gonna work from the surface to the ship?
Rochelle again will chip in and say, well, based on my sensor scans, I believe that transporting down to the surface and maintaining an open comm line if needed wouldn't be an issue. But if the interference from the binary stars gets any stronger, we're going to have difficulty getting everyone up. It might limit communications and how many people we can bring up per beam out.
Could we also rig some kind of beacon with a stronger signal in case that's needed?
We could, but that would involve you transporting down with Federation pattern enhancers.
I see. Okay, what we're going to do then is set a hard time limit, and if we are not back by then...
I think you cut off there. You said back by then and then nothing.
Sorry, I'm thinking still.
Oh.
Let's say after 2 hours, if you don't hear from us, pull us out.
Okay. So I guess it's a question at this point. So just so I have everyone's token on the right map. So we have Tahan, Heelong, Nalan, Monday. Matic, are you going as yourself or a security personnel?
I'll just go as myself.
Okay.
There's a chance that we may need to steal a shuttle.
That's probably a fair assumption. And then you guys have the option of bringing along... Well, this is really in case Rochelle joins us. He'll be playing a supporting character. So it's just a matter of which supporting character you guys want to give him. So Ensign Lowe's is a Bajoran. He was specifically designed by Tahan to be his away mission stand-in as needed. Your other option is Ensign Rouge. He's a Cation, and is also a member of the security staff. And if you want to go full balls to the wall, you could try bringing down Lieutenant Cyril, but the risk there is that there are no Vulcans that Rochelle was able to pick up on the planet.
Were there any Romulans?
There were no Romulans.
Okay. So this is in addition to taking Heelong with us?
Yep. She comes along for free. Since normally you'd get Ujessa, I'm just giving her to you for free.
Okay. I mean, if we're going to undergo some minor cosmetic surgery, I don't. I assume Sora will be willing to do the same.
Indeed.
Yeah. I think that's because if we introduce him a second time, we get to upgrade him, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Anyone else have any other preferences?
None, sir.
All right. Well, what do we upgrade on him?
So I actually think it's also worth noting that since Heelong's also coming along, that you can upgrade her as well.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So yeah, why don't we? I'll pull up the PDF rules real fast, and we'll very quickly come up with what we're adding to each of their sheets. So supporting characters. So as for everyone to look at, we're looking at page 134 of the PDF. You can basically give both Heelong and Cyril, you can give them a value. You can increase one of their attributes by 1. You can increase a discipline by 1. They can gain a new focus, or that they could gain a talent that they qualify for.
Ooh, talent could be good. Who's the one that had quick to action before?
I believe that was Cyril. Let me double check. No, let me check Heelong. Neither of them had quick to action.
Of the player characters, was that Rochelle?
Oh, I believe, yes, it was Rochelle. Double check his sheet. Yes, it was Rochelle who had it.
Would one of you be cool with giving Surreal quick to action? That way we
yeah,
can-
I'd be fine with that. I mean, double check.
Although it wouldn't stack if we used him and Surreal in the same, or Surreal and Rochelle in the same OA mission, I don't believe.
Right, but since, he's staying on ship, it probably makes sense.
Right.
All right, well, Surreal does indeed qualify for quick to action, so I'll just go ahead and give him the talent, unless there's any objections.
None, at least from me.
All right, silence is consent. All right, so that's Surreal out of the way. What are you giving Heelong?
Let's just look at Heelong here. Let's see, so it's a... If we're going to be fighting, if we do it all, what about, not sure how good this is in-game, but what about Mean Right Hook? Because I'm just looking and she has, like, hand-to-hand combat as a focus and all that stuff. Excuse me.
I mean, you wouldn't be wrong, especially since that her unarmed is a little bit better than usual. So, but the one thing is, I think it already has Vicious. Yeah, her unarmed strike already has Vicious.
Oh, okay. Let's look around more here.
I mean, we could go crazy and just give her a fourth point of security.
You could.
And that would be good because in case she does have to do something with phasers, her control is a little bit lesser than her fitness. So bumping up the security helps both what she's best at and what is more of her security secondary.
Yeah?
Also increases her focus range.
I'd be okay with that.
All right. So unless there's any objections, I'll go ahead and do that. So she now has a 4 in security. That means she gets an extra stress. Her damage all goes up by 1. And I think we're good to go. All right. So as far as everything else, was there anything else you guys wanted to do during the conference, the meeting in the conference room? Or do we want to go ahead and switch scenes to get the show on the road?
Captain, do you want me to try to create new comm badges? That way we don't start walking around with some Starfleet badges on us or having to keep pulling them out or something?
Yeah, we can just make a new housing for the internals and swap them.
Alright.
And then and we'll have an additional one to pin on our Tellarite friend if we need to do that.
Alright.
Alrighty. Give me 1 second as my threat counter resets, so I have to re-add it here. Let's see, there's 4 of you, so I get that much threat to start off with. Shrink the torn order box so it doesn't take up the whole screen. Alright. So I guess the operative question here is how much, if any, does Doré alter your appearances? And what sort of clothing are you guys going down in?
This is kind of Tahan's jam, like infiltration and like cultural study. So he's going to be helping along through this. The most important thing is that whatever prostheses we wear are super comfortable, so that we feel natural in them. But otherwise, being blending into the crowd is good without going so unnoticeable that it's like normcore and is extra conspicuous. We don't want to do that either.
Okay.
Just fly casual.
All right. Doré will basically say something along the lines of that your default human appearance for everyone that's not Heelong and Cyril should be fine. For Cyril, he can taper the ears a little bit better, so they're not as obvious. But Heelong, there's nothing he can really do for her. But the good news is that while she'll stick out a little bit, it's not probably going to be an issue because, as I said on the earlier sensor scan, revealed that there were very many, or not very many, but quite a few unknown humanoid species on planet. The key thing is it's just you can't transport down Ujessa because Ujessa would set off alarm bells right away.
Sorry.
But yeah, would it be probably a safe assumption that you guys are going down in leathers and street clothes, or are you going to go like the full extra mile and go full black trench coat and wear black trench coats or cloaks or things of that nature?
I'm just going to do regular clothes. No trench coat for me.
Okay.
I'm just going to do regular street clothes as well.
Okay.
Yeah, the same.
Yeah,
And I will be going with the Type 1 phaser this time instead of the Type 2.
Okay. That's actually, I'm glad you brought that up because it reminds me, just as a kind of a warning / hint, a Type 2 phaser is not exactly concealable per rules as written, but a Type 1 phaser is something you all could hide on your person. No problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
And anyone comfortable with melee is free to bring a blade or whatever they need down to the surface with them.
Well, when you feel in Heelong, she'll just kind of tap her horns and smile.
Oh, fair enough.
After the captain says that, I go and replicate like a knife of some sort, or yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it can be whatever design of knife or blade that you'd want. I forget what page it's specifically on, but I think it's like 2 plus your security. Sounds right anyway. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have like a K-bar, nothing fancy.
Okay. Oh, it's only 1 damage rating plus your security, but it does have vicious, deadly, and hidden, so that's good. All right. I think we're good to go to transport down to the planet, unless anyone has any outstanding things they want to do.
I don't.
I don't either.
Nope.
I want to make the new housing for the comm badges. That way, and then also I want to know more of where the bioweapons are, and try to figure out a way to put like a locator on them. Like if are they in like an open market stall where it's 1 by 1, or if they're in crates, and try to tag the crates. That way, if they get moved, by the time we notify Starfleet, we're able to find them down the road.
So I would say that the sensors aren't able to detect whether they're sitting out in a stall or if they're in crates or something of that nature. But you do know that it's near the main spaceport, so it would just require you to go to the spaceport with the tricorder and tracking it down.
All right.
And I'll be nice here and say that your tricorders are also concealable. I think that's probably an oversight in the rules, but I feel like at least some form of tricorder would be something you guys could hide on your person.
All right.
But yeah, other than that, Matic, you of course whip up some jury-rigged comm badges that aren't in a Starfleet insignia housing. But after you hand those out, I think we're ready to beam down.
Yeah, unless anybody else has something they want to do, I'm ready.
Nope. Ready as well.
Energize.
All right. So Richaud does the actual beam out, and as with all transporters, you feel yourself dematerialize, and your view is just of a blue glow that consumes almost your entire existence. And after a few milliseconds, you feel yourself rematerializing on the surface of the planet. And as the blue glow of the transporter fades from your vision, a number of things assaults your senses. So the first thing is that there is this distinct smell of oil and ozone that hits your nostrils. The smell of oil is probably coming from the leaking metal barrel at the end of the alleyway which you've materialized in. And the ozone is probably a product of the heavy rainfall. So you've more or less beamed down into a heavy rain, which is both good and bad. It's one of those things where, if you were trying to, pass yourselves off as someone fairly well-to-do, they wouldn't get as wet as you guys probably are going to be. But in any case, as you kind of look out towards the street from the alleyway, you see that the road is kind of awash in this blue and green and pink neon lights. Think like Blade Runner is probably a good example. It is very cyberpunk. It is very synthwave, very very different than what you're used to in a Federation world. And as I kick you over to this map, when you look further out into the street and poke your head out of the alleyway, you see that there doesn't appear to be very much foot traffic thanks to the rain. And as far as you're able to tell, no one's noticed your beam in so far.
Is this a new scene?
This is in fact a new scene, yes.
Okay.
I'm going to look at the captain and say, well, at this point I think we should try to split up some. I know it's probably not ideal, but more ground gets covered, and we don't have just a bunch of people walking together drawing attention.
All right, but let's stay in groups of 2 and 3. Neelan, do you...
Yes.
Can you find our friend?
I can try to.
That would be a... what do I want to call it? A insight plus... I guess it would be science. Sounds right. Sure, why not? I would say this is definitely going to be at a difficulty of 4, though.
A difficulty 4. Okay.
So this would probably be a good time to figure out whether you want to do extra die via momentum.
Right. Okay, so momentum. Okay, so basically, I'm trying to remember. It's like, does spending a momentum just basically give me an extra dice if I need it, or?
So that's right. The first point of momentum you spend gives you 1 extra dice.
Okay.
After that, you can spend another 2 to get another 1.
Gotcha.
And then if you have a focus, it will make the quote-unquote crit range a bit wider. But
Okay.
I don't think you have a specific focus for this.
Yeah, I don't.
And
Because we
you only
have 2 momentum.
Yeah, because of the scene change. So you'd only be able to buy 1 die.
Okay, would you be okay with me spending 1 to get another one? All right. So that'll be 3d20. No applicable focus. Oh.
Well, the good news is that it was done at succeed at cost.
Yeah.
So while you're not able to obviously narrow down Duskmaul's location, you are at least able to pick out that there is a Orion patrol, Orion security force that is coming towards your general direction. not towards the alleyway, but like up the street kind of a thing.
Right. We have an Orion security patrol coming our way.
I'm gonna whip out the tricorder and find a spot that we can avoid their path.
Okay. I would say probably a reason plus security here. Difficulty 2.
Infiltration for this?
Yeah, I'll give you infiltration. Why not?
The 2, you say?
Difficulty 2, yes.
All right. Took a while. All right.
All right, so
only one.
as you pull out your tricorder and scan around, really the most secluded thing you have at the moment is the alleyway you're in. Visibility is somewhat limited because of the heavy rain, but you're pretty sure that if you were to leave the alleyway, the security force is going to definitely see you.
I say we bunker down here until they pass.
Agreed.
All right. So, you all kind of pull back into the alleyway and make yourselves as scarce as possible in such a space. And sure enough, the security force walks past the entrance of the alleyway, and you see that there are about 4 male Orion in leathers that is they stereotypically wear. Very revealing, even though it is pouring down rain. And you see about their belts that they have both disruptors and knives of some make. But the good news is that they don't really look down the alleyway or take note of you at all. They just kind of keep on walking.
I'm going to activate my new not Starfleet communicator, and Tahan to Arcadia, visual confirmation of Orions on the planet.
Oh, go ahead.
No, that's it.
Okay. So Ujessa will just kind of give you a chirp back so that her voice doesn't come up on the communication, but it is very much an affirmative. She got your signal.
Okay. All right. So it had been suggested we split into teams. I agree.
How do we want to do this, though? Like 3 teams of 2, 2 teams of 3?
Right, there are 6 of us because we brought Cyril.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do 3 teams of 2.
Okay.
All right. How are you going to split those up?
It's a darn good question.
Well, Halong and Cyril and myself are probably the most capable combat, so if each of us pair up with one of you 3, and then we just run like that.
I would say the same for Hai Long.
Yeah.
So those 3 each get
Hmm. Trying to figure out how we should do this.
I think it'd be kind of arbitrary. So, like,
Right.
He Long with the counselor. I can go with Cyril, and then Monday and Monday and Matt go together. Maybe?
Okay.
All right. So it should be your vertical pairings then.
All right. Yeah.
All right. So, as you all pair off and very discreetly leave the alleyway at different times, so it doesn't look like you all kind of burst out of the alleyway, we're going to enter into a extended task here, and we're going to rotate through the teams. So, as you guys are tracking down Duskmaul, I did want to ask how you wanted to go about that. Did you guys want to stick to tricorder readings? Or telepathic abilities, or just asking people in general, because it's a different role for each one of those things.
Right.
I'm going to be going the social route. I'm going to use my strengths.
Okay.
I'll go to social route as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'll go social as well.
All right, social all around. Very good. So I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that case it's going to be a presence plus security. I could be wrong, but unfortunately, Rochelle is not here to correct me. So we'll run with presence plus security, or if any of you have any recommendations for a role. But that's what we'll go with for the time being. So we'll start with.
Sorry, something's changed on my character sheet. Presence is at 1 all of a sudden.
That's.
Let me check. Your file is in Discord as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm starting to wonder if there's a thing with the sheet that randomly sets people's stats to 1 because it's happened with a few NPCs.
All right, for my PDF copy of Monday, I have presence at 7.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I could see this task also being presence command, but either I think is pretty on the button.
You know what, I'll go with it. If you want to do presence plus security or presence plus command, it'll work fine.
I was wondering why insight might have came into this.
Insight would be another good one. I suppose insight plus, I guess, con? Maybe? Yeah, why not? We'll do an insight plus con.
Okay. What's the difficulty?
The difficulty's 2, but let's break it up into different teams so that we don't all roll at once.
Yeah, sure.
So
Go ahead.
I have 2 quick questions. One, do we or did we bring any money to grease some palms? And 2, are we splitting up, like one team's going to the docking area, another team's going to like a bar, other teams searching the town, or are we just gonna kind of wander around and hope for the best?
That's up to you guys.
We definitely would have come up with some kind of trade fungible good. As far as like individual places,
I mean,
I guess
Monday
it's just-
and I can go to the where the shuttles are, and that's where the bioweapons are, so I can see if there's a way I could try to track them. And at the same time, if we're not able to transport, I'll be able to steal a shuttle.
okay, I like that, but not getting caught is the top priority there.
Right.
Yeah. Or at least get some intel on what's happening with that. I do appreciate that. I think I'm going to be heading towards like maybe restaurants or places where I can talk to people, probably grease some palms, that sort of thing.
Okay. And then Nalan, where are you going to go with Heelong?
I guess just kind of like ask around on random streets, if that's an option.
That certainly is.
All right.
Cool. With that out of the way, let's start with the captain's group. So, Tahan, you find your way into a restaurant / bar, and the person, we'll say it's a restaurant, the individual at the front desk or the front podium just kind of looks at you as you come in, and this individual is a human male, probably in his late 20s, and he just kind of looks you guys over and says, "Welcome to the Blue Moon. Will it just be the 2 of you?"
I was looking for a third. He might not be here yet. A Tellarite fellow. I don't know if you've seen him.
Well, there's quite a few Tellarites about. Can you be more specific?
I think it was something like Duskman. We were supposed to meet for a trade. I didn't want to wasn't supposed to wait in the rain all day, though.
He just kind of tilts his head to the side and says, Duskman doesn't ring a bell. Do you have any descriptors on his physical appearance that I might be able to have noticed?
Yeah, I'll give him the base description,
Okay.
whatever that is.
So it is for Duskmaul that he is a fairly portly guy with a jet black beard, and that he, well, as long as he hasn't changed outfits from when he was last on Narendra Station, He wears pretty standard trader clothes.
All right.
So yeah, you communicate all this, and the concierge, or whatever it's actually called at the front, he considers it for a moment, and he kind of looks back into the seated area, around the bar and the booths, etc., and he says, "No, I can't say I know anybody here that matches that description, but," he kind of leans in and he says, "Whatever you were trading him for, maybe I could hook you up."
Well, I might be able to cut him out as a middleman. Do you know who he gets his supplies from?
His smile kind of falters for a moment. And it's at this time I'd like you to roll me I think this is probably a presence plus security.
Okay.
Do it at a difficulty of 2, so that we keep it on the track for the extended task.
Sure. And then for applicable focus, I don't think, unless it's infiltration again.
Nah, I'm not going to give it to you this time.
Okay.
Okay. So unfortunately, you don't make any progress on the extended task, and more or less how this happens in game is that the individual you're speaking to isn't willing to give up that sort of information. He literally only just met you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, did you want to try something else, or do you want me to go ahead and move on to another group so you can come up with something new?
I'll think of something while the next group goes.
Alrighty. So, Monday and Matic. It's a bit of a walk to the spaceport, maybe about 15 minutes. And as you walk around, you get the sense that even with the weather as it is, that the spaceport is somehow more chaotic than the city around it. From the road that you see, it's a bustle of cargo vehicles of all sizes and shapes, and all sorts of small spacecraft come and go as they please. There doesn't really seem to be any rhyme or reason to the layout. It pretty much seems that if the ground vehicles and the spacecraft, they just sort of meet at whatever spot is convenient. Like, there's no specific parking spots, quote unquote. But it means that the space near to the entrance of the spaceport is at a premium and is thusly jam-packed with people, goods, vessels, etc. As you look past the menagerie, I guess would be a good word, you see that the farther away you get from the main road into the spaceport, the more sparse ships and other such things are.
I'm gonna just look at Monday and be like, "Hey, you're gonna be the face. You need to be Mr. Nice Guy. Shit goes sideways, I'll be your muscle."
Leave this for me. Before I joined Starfleet, this was pretty much where I spent most of my time anyway. Used to have my own little civilian cargo transport business.
But that was fun.
Yeah, it wasn't until the ship was destroyed.
Does tend to put a damper on things.
Just a bit. So I was going to ask about that. One of my focuses, like, it isn't really in the book, but I put down smuggling.
I mean, technically, focuses and values are something you come up with as a character, so it doesn't have to be from the book. So yeah, smuggling would apply here.
Right. I'm going to see if I can recognize, not like face-wise, but like demeanor, the way they're looking. Someone who I think would be like, right, if I go to them, they're going to know the rundown of what's going on at the docks and who would be best to talk to find not a person, but a certain type of off-the-book weaponry.
Let's see. It's definitely going to be insight. Let's do insight plus con. At a difficulty of 2. Ooh, very nice. That crit saved you. All right. So, Ensign Monday, you are going to very quickly recall your family-run business and your time with it and the sort of folks that you interacted with. And you're going to notice almost right away that one of the shuttles near the entrance, an Orion shuttle by the looks of it, appears to be currently being stocked with a multitude of these metal crates. And as you stare at these crates, you kind of remember that usually the Orion don't put things in boxes unless they're trying to dampen the scanners from penetrating the box, kind of a thing.
Maddox, those boxes. They've been used to hide something. Orions usually like to boast about their goods. They only hide the stuff that needs to be hidden.
Like a certain type of illegal weapon?
You've got it.
How tight is the security on the ship that's being loaded up?
I would say that there's probably about 2 Orions just kind of standing watch at the egress of the shuttle. But the truck that the workers are moving the boxes from, there's no one really standing alongside the truck or watching it really. So there is the possibility of you sneaking up without being detected, but it is a risk.
Sorry, just so roll 20, you're going to reboot the servers. I don't know if that's going to affect us.
We'll see in a moment, I suppose.
I want to kind of look around and see if there's anyone who's watching us, following us, if there's anyone who seems like they're trying to keep a focus on us, even though it's real chaotic and hectic.
Okay. I won't have you roll for this because it's a fairly benign thing. Actually, you know what? No, I'll let you roll because you need the momentum. Roll me a insight plus security. And it's a difficulty of 0. So you're basically, this is your momentum generator.
We have 2 momentum, right?
I think we only have 1 right now because I spent 1 earlier.
All right. I could spend that 1 and get a third D20 and then use the untapped potential to get a little bit extra.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
See if I have a bullshit focus that works. Nope. What?
Wow. All right.
Cool.
So you succeed, but you also don't generate any momentum. Wow. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that happened. You're looking around, you're making sure, people aren't looking at you. It seems as far as anyone is concerned, you are just passersby or people who have business. They don't really seem to pay you much attention at all.
All right.
Do you think a distraction would work?
Yeah, it'd work on bringing more Orion guards on us.
Well, it's a thing we used to do back in the day. When we were younger, we'd send the really fast kid to run, take something, run away, cause a whole lot of noise, a whole lot of distraction, cast everyone's eyes towards him, while the rest of us would sneak in and take You know, what was there to be taken? How fast are you, Maddox?
Not fast enough for what I'm planning on doing. Why don't you go try to find us some kid you can pay off to be a nice little runt to the guards over there?
I'll do my best.
Okay. So yeah, it's not a very hard thing to find a kid in an alleyway or just running along the street playing in the rainwater. He more or less will agree to do what you ask for a nominal sum.
Okay.
While Monday's doing that, I want to try to build one of two things. Either a transponder that we can track later on, that I could try to put into the ship itself, or an explosive device that will disable the ship whenever it goes to try to take off.
So the former is something I would say you maybe would have brought with you from the Arcadia. But the latter is something that you just aren't carrying around the materials to do something with. Like, you'd have to physically get into the shuttle and start messing with its engines to pull off that sort of thing.
Okay. How big are the metal crates?
I would say that they're probably about 2 meters cubed. So they're big.
Do they look easy to open?
You aren't actually seeing any way to open these boxes, but I'll take that back a little bit. So as you kind of watch them move the boxes, you catch a very quick glimpse that there is a electronic lock that is on the top of the box. And how the box itself actually opens is unknown to you, but you're guessing that the electronic lock probably causes a panel to slide open or something.
Can I tell if it's like fingerprint, voice, or buttons? Like, is it...
It looks like buttons.
Okay. I'm gonna tell Monday my plan is figure out what's inside those boxes. I could probably break into one of them, put a transponder in, or and then go from there. But I'm gonna need as much time as he can possibly give me.
All right. I've told this kid that god over there, long-time best friend, we play practical jokes on each other all the time. Tell him to run over to him, do his best to grab his communicator, and just run.
Just run.
Just run.
Okay. Monday, why don't you roll for the kid? Just roll me 2d20.
Does it need to be above or below anything?
I'm keeping it secret, but okay. So, as you all start to enact your plan here, Monday, you send the kid off, and the kid does as you ask, plus a little extra. So he runs up to one of the guards, the specific one you pointed out, sideswipes his communicator, and then, for extra flavor, kicks the guy in the shins and starts to run.
Nice.
Obviously, this pisses off the guard in question, and he immediately starts shouting and chasing off after the kid. And after a moment, his fellow guard turns away from what he's guarding. So this would probably be the opportune time for either Monday or Maddox to sneak up and do whatever.
I'm gonna sneak up and do what I need to do.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell Monday to get ready with his phaser.
Okay. Let's do this so it accounts for the extended track. I want Matic. I want you, and we'll just roll for your sneaking skills here. I want you to roll me I guess you would call it a daring plus con. Yeah, we'll call it a daring plus con. At a difficulty of 2.
Oh, this is gonna go so bad. Daring plus con.
Okay. So what'll happen is you'll get about halfway to the truck where the remaining boxes are before the Orion guard that the kid had, kicked in the shins and run off. He'll start coming back at that time. So you have about 5 seconds to either throw the transponder at a box and hope it sticks, or to abandon, your task. It's up to you.
I'm going to try to throw the transponder and run.
Okay. I won't have you roll for it. The transponder was something that you had jury-rigged before coming down. It has a sticky side to it. So you are able to more or less baseball throw the transponder at one of the boxes, and it sticks. And then it begins to change color to match the surrounding box. I would have said that would have been something you would have come up with beforehand. But yeah, at this point, as soon as you throw the transponder and then walk away, the guards have resumed their post.
All right. I'm gonna look at Monday and be like, okay, transponder's set. Let's get back to trying to find this Tellarite.
Sounds good.
All right. And we're going to cut to Nalan and Helong. So, what kind of person are you going to be approaching on the street?
I'm going to assume I'll look for, just any other Tellarite that's passing by.
Okay.
And then, essentially, what was the guy's name we were looking for again? Darkmaul, something like that? Duskmaul, okay. And I guess, okay. Just kind of give, a general description without dropping the name and see if I can grab anything.
Okay. So you accost a Tellarite passing, and as you are describing this individual, you're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to look it up real fast, but
Okay.
For your being a Betazoid and your telepathy, I know it's a specific role.
I think it's I can only pick up surface thoughts or something like that, but I can't remember.
You sense the nearby surface thoughts and emotions of most living beings nearby. You communicate telepathically with other empaths and telepaths as well. Surface thoughts or whatever a creature is thinking about at the precise moment. It will require effort in the task to pick out the emotions or thought of a specific individual or crowd, to search a creature's mind for specific thoughts or memories, or to block out the minds of those nearby. I would say this would probably fit in insight plus, I guess either science or medicine would apply here.
Okay. And what's the difficulty for it?
I would say a difficulty of 2.
Okay. So I'm not sure if I have any focus that would apply here. The only ones I didn't that might work are diplomacy, linguistics, or galactic politics, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, none of those would apply here.
All right. Let's see, 2d20, no applicable focus.
And you pass. So the Tellarite, as you described this to him, he'll go, "Oh yeah, I saw a Tellarite like that. He setting up the road. And before I actually continue, I just remembered. So I need you now to roll me a number of challenge die equal to 2 plus your science, so a total of 5 challenge die.
All right.
Oh, wow. Wow, you knocked that out of the park. So yeah, you do indeed get a breakthrough on this extended task.
All right.
So not only does this Tellarite say, "Oh yeah, I saw him," he continues on to say, I think his name was Dusk Bunny or something. I don't really care, but he was headed for the Sapphire Inn, or Sapphire Inn, was it the Sapphire? And he thinks for a moment, was Sapphire Inn? No, that's not right. The Sapphire Tides. That's what it's called.
The Sapphire Tides. Okay.
And you get the sense that this guy's probably a little bit drunk.
Oh, okay. That's fun. All right. Well, is there an alleyway nearby?
There's a few, yeah.
Okay, so with the combat as we have, would I be able to communicate with Dahan, Monday, and Matic, and all the others from here?
I would say yeah, and they would be able to find a discreet place to pull out their own communicators and talk.
Okay. Whenever I get the chance, I'm going to duck by in one of those alleyways.
Okay.
And then just kind of tap my communicator. I've gotten a lead on where Duskmaul might be heading. I just talked with another Tellarite and said something about the Sapphire Tides.
So I will have gone to a discreet location once I hear the chirp to listen to the message. The name of the bar I'm in is not the Sapphire Tides, is it?
No.
Okay.
It is the Blue Moon.
All right. I'm going to go back to the to who was I talking to before? The barkeeper?
The person that stands at the front of the restaurant at the podium, seats people, whatever that's actually called.
I'm sorry. I think I got lost. I confused Sapphire Tide with Blue Moon. Could you point me to where I'm supposed to be?
So the individual, the human, just kind of it's almost like he's indignant. He says, "Now, how the hell did you confuse a club for a restaurant?"
I only knew the name. Blue, Sapphire.
All right, fine. What you want to do is you want to go up that street there for about 3 blocks, take a left, go another 2. You can't miss it.
I'll pull out whatever kind of pocket change I have. It's you've been a big help, man, and I'll give him a tip. I have no idea what an acceptable tip is because I don't use money.
You just throw things at him.
Yeah,
Random
just like in a medieval movie. Here's a sack of Here's a sack of coins.
Well, sack of Latinum, but same thing.
Yeah.
No,
not that much, but I'll thank you for helping me.
He nods and says, "You were never here. I got it."
Give him a nod and head over to the Sapphire. And I'll chirp back to Nolan. It's I'm on my way there now.
I'll do the same as well.
Okay. And then we cut to Monday and Matic. You have just heard this conversation as well. What would you two like to do?
I'm assuming me and Monday are in an alleyway.
Well, I mean, you're in some sort of secluded position between a couple shuttles in the spaceport.
All right. I'm gonna try to raise the ship, and I'm just gonna ask: is it still we may have a location on our friend? Is it still possible to transport, or are we running out of time and I need to requisition other transport?
So Ujessa answers, and she says, "It should still be possible to perform the beam out, but it probably wouldn't hurt if you found this guy's shuttle."
Is there a docking authority or an ATC anywhere that I can go talk to?
You could, but I would also say that since you have the ion trail signature, you could just run a tricorder scan of the area and try to find it that way.
Oh. Yeah, I'll just run that signal real quick then.
Okay. I believe it would either be insight plus engineering or control plus engineering. At a difficulty of, we'll call it 2. We'll keep it at 2. Why not?
Fuck me.
Wow. All right. So, unfortunately, as you pull out your tricorder, talk to a few people, you're not able to find Duskmaul's shuttle. The sprawling spaceport is just so big that you could spend a couple of hours here looking, if you so wished. But I would like to say to Monday, since you are also here, I'd like you to roll me a reason plus con, just to see if you maybe can figure out, where a Tellarite might park his shuttle in all of this chaos.
Yeah, sure. What's the difficulty on that?
We're gonna call this a difficulty 2.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. So you get 1 momentum. Very good. And now I'd like you to roll me a couple challenge die. So it'll be, 7 challenge die. As this will be maybe our, yeah. So the good news is that you guys complete the extended task. And the way this is accomplished is Monday, you're kind of looking around, you're judging, possible flight plans in and out of this place, and you start to think that maybe Duskmaul put his ship down in a place where nobody really went, and just kind of to keep it discreet and hidden, quote unquote. So you start to wander on a hunch towards the western part of the spaceport. And sure enough, after about 10 minutes of scanning with your tricorder, you get a match. And you are able to pick up the signature of Duskmaul's ship. And when you walk over to the signal, you do indeed find a currently locked Tellarite shuttle that is currently situated in the spaceport.
All right then. I'll let the rest of the crew know.
I'm going to respond. I think I'm, again, from like a discreet, secure location.
Mm-hmm.
Monday, do you think you could break into his ship and see if he has a transporter?
Possibly. I might need some help.
Well, let me know what you can do.
All right, I'll give it a go.
All right. So, I guess my main question here, who is going to be doing the bulk of the lifting on trying to get the shuttle open? Is it Matic? Is it Monday? And whoever doesn't do the main role will be assisting.
I mean, I apparently can't roll for shit today, so, Monday can do it if he wants.
All right. Give it a go.
All right. I think this would be a daring plus security, or a daring plus engineering. And we'll say this will be at a difficulty of 3.
I don't
I'm
think
gonna
I have any
assist-
focuses for this.
I don't think you do. Let me check.
I've got Family Guy, helm operations, small craft, astral navigation, extra vehicle operations, and smuggling.
I'll give you a small craft. Why not?
Oh, okay.
Do we want to use our momentum here?
Yeah, I was about to suggest this might be a good time for momentum.
Yeah.
All right. How do I use momentum?
It's 1 point to get an extra die, or 3 die to get an extra 2. Or 3 momentum to get an extra 2 die, sorry. I think you have currently 3 momentum?
Oh, did we gain some? I had us at 1, but I might have missed us gaining 2.
I'll add an extra dice.
Yeah, you've got it. You would have just had the 1 then. I'm getting
Okay.
threat and my momentum mixed up here. But yeah. A yellow. Okay. So
2 crits and a crit.
Oh my fucking!
No!
All right, I'm
Good
done.
lord.
I give up.
He's a
Fuck this
Hornish
shit.
ship.
So how do I want to do this?
Yowza.
So we have 2 critical successes and 2 critical failures.
Yeah.
So we do succeed.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's,
look at Monday's roll. It's 1/120.
I gotta figure out how I want to do these complications.
Guards show up and we get violent. Fuck it.
So
I had a terrible idea.
go ahead. I'm willing to entertain suggestions.
Duskmaul is inside the craft.
That would make things very easy, wouldn't it?
Oh, I guess it would.
I mean,
All right, so here's how it'll go down. Monday, with Maddox's help, you work on the lock that opens up the back of the shuttle, and
Oh,
Oh.
sorry.
no, go ahead.
If you guys have any determination you can spend to reroll dice, you can get rid of the complications.
Do I have determination? I don't think I do.
Well, everyone
You should start
does.
with 1 point.
Yeah, everyone has 1 point. It's just a matter of doing something that applies to, I believe it's a value or an injury or something of that nature.
Oh, okay.
There's also, you can use directives like the Prime Directive, and then some missions will have their own specific one. Obviously, this is not the Prime Directive.
Yeah, I would say this is definitely not the Prime Directive, unfortunately. So it would be a matter of deciding if a value you had could be challenged here. And again, Rasho would be the one to correct me on this, but since he's not here.
Well, I think you can gain a determination by having your value challenged, or you can just do something that your value helps you with to spend your determination.
To the DM screen. Alright, so, determination. When spending determination, the character adds a single bonus. It adds, so specifically it adds a 1 roll, like a roll of 1 to your thing, but as far as I'm aware, at least on what I'm reading here, it doesn't let you re-roll.
I'm thinking of Moment of Inspiration. A point of determination may be spent to reroll all of the dice, but you get to selectively choose which of all you want.
Ah, no, I see what it is. I see it on the DM screen now. I see exactly what you're talking about. So yeah, let me double check. It's on page 87. So a character's values can help a character in a difficult situations. Yada yada yada. Whenever a character is attempting a task for which one of their values would be advantageous, they may spend 1 point of determination. So does Monday or Maddox have any value that would apply here?
So breaking and entering.
Yes.
No. Matic doesn't.
I don't think so.
All right.
All right, it was worth a shot.
Yeah, it was worth a shot. So here's what happens. As you fiddle with the lock and miraculously get it to open, several things happen at once. So as the ramp and otherwise back hatch kind of starts opening and tilting downwards, there's an alarm in the shuttle that starts going off, and it is a very, very loud klaxon. And as you're like looking around and frantically trying to shut the alarm off, you not only accidentally overload the lock so that you can't do anything else with it, but at the same time, several passing people in the spaceport start to head in your direction. They look like Orion.
Oh, shit.
I'm gonna step forward. And I'm gonna say, some kid just came over here, tried to break into this thing and ran off. I think it was the same one that was messing with that security guard earlier on.
Oh boy. This is obviously a bluff, but what the hell do you roll for a bluff is the question. I guess we'll call it a daring plus command. Or daring plus security, maybe? Yeah, either or. We'll go with those. At a difficulty of... I would say this is probably going to be another difficulty of 3, unfortunately. So Matic,
daring and command? Or security, sorry?
Yeah, daring plus security or daring plus command, yeah.
So we did gain a momentum on that last roll, so we're still at 1.
And Matic could help you here, but as we've seen...
It has not gone well.
How many Orion are headed this way?
It looks like about 2 of them.
Do they just have, like, disruptor pistols and
a knife? Yeah.
Okay.
Should I use a momentum, or should we keep it?
I mean, they're there to be spent, right? If the scene changes, we lose it.
I'm gonna use it.
All right.
Not sure I've got any focuses, though.
Yeah, I don't think smuggling will apply here, unfortunately. Hey! You don't even need to have Matic assist you. Very good. So the Orion, once they get a little bit closer and they hear you call out to them, they're like, you mean to tell me that brat Jim was around here? I swear, when I catch that fucking kid, I'm going to skin him alive. And then the other guard says, no, hold on. As much as I would love to have a new human skin cloak, why don't we just turn him into a slave? And then his fellow goes, you know, you are perfectly fucking right. Hey, you, whatever the fuck your name is, where did the kid run off to?
The name's Maddox. It's over here. Come on, let's go.
Oh, no.
All right. So, we'll say that Monday you lead off the Orion Guard on a wild goose chase, which gives Maddox some time to try and shut up the alarm or do whatever he wanted to do inside of Duskmaul's shuttle.
All right. Can I just ask?
Yes.
One of my values is we'll do anything to protect his family and Starfleet. Would this be me trying to protect Maddox from beginning?
I would say, yeah, this would apply here.
All right. So is that what we were talking about earlier?
Yeah. So if I have you do another task that involves that value, you can spend a point of determination to do multiple things.
Okay. Good.
So yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Maddox.
One, does he have a transporter on his ship?
He does not appear to have one, unfortunately.
Is there anything of note on his ship?
There are a few definitely smaller metal boxes. These are probably about a meter cubed, so they're half the size of the ones you tagged earlier. But you also see that there is almost like I guess the best descriptor would be like a teenager's room. So there's just shit everywhere. Clothes, half-eaten food. This guy is not taking care of his shit.
All right. I'm going to work on shutting off the alarm and getting this baby ready to go.
Okay. Roll me a control plus engineering to see if you can shut off the alarm.
It's a it's a Tellarite ship or a Starfleet ship?
It's a Tellarite ship.
Can I just cut the power to it, or will that affect other systems?
That would probably affect other systems.
All right. Would computers count as a focus?
I'm going to say no in this instance.
All right. So what's the difficulty?
I'm going to call it a difficulty 2.
Two.
You can do it.
What? It's 1 threat for an additional dice.
For the first one, yes.
Okay. Y'all mind if I do that?
Yep. That's cool. I think he's got plenty of threat already.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
This is gonna go so wrong.
See?
Hey!
See? All you had to do was praise
1, 2,
RNGesus.
3, 4, 5. So I
So we
gain
gain-
us 3 momentum.
Hell yeah. That's worth one threat.
Yep. So, Matic, not only are you able to quickly patch into the control system of the shuttle and shut off the alarm, you also will pick up a set of logs, like personal logs from Duskmaul. And we'll get to that in a moment, but I did want to cut to the others for the time being. So scene change, so lose 1 momentum.
No. Okay.
So Nalan, Tahan, Cyril, and Heelong, you all are going to reach the exterior of the Sapphire Tides. And from the outside, the bar known as the Sapphire Tides appears to be more like a club than a actual hole-in-the-wall type bar that you might have been expecting. Even on the street, you can hear the heavy bass just pounding away. At the entrance, there are 2 Gorn bouncers on either side of the double doors, each dressed in rather formal attire for a Gorn. Leading away from the doors, there's a short queue of people waiting to get in. And also for flavor, there's a dancing holographic Orion woman above the bar name. It's in big pink neon, and the hologram of the Orion girl is a blue hologram, just for flavor.
Okay. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah. I just get in the line, I guess.
Guess I don't really have any objections to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you get in line. You wait about 5-10 minutes. Line
Cool.
hasn't moved.
Well, shit.
It's like the DMV.
Stay off the bouncer.
Yeah. But first, Neelan, do you sense our friend inside?
Can I at least sense maybe Tellarite inside? Or
I would say you are picking up a couple Tellarite inside, but if you want to specifically try to isolate a thought pattern that again matches up with what you came up with earlier, that would be a roll.
Okay, I'll roll for that,
Okay.
I guess.
I would say that this is either going to be, oh boy, insight plus science or reason plus science at a difficulty of 3.
Okay, difficulty 3.
Which works out well because you have more momentum to work with now.
Yeah, how many do we have?
2, because of the scene
2.
change.
Okay, I guess I'll spend 1 here to give me another challenge dice, if that's okay.
Yep.
Alright, sweet. 3d20s. No applicable focus. Nope. That's one success.
All right. So yeah, there's just between the loud music, even out here on the street, and all the people inside and other such nature, you just aren't able to isolate any of the Tellarite's thoughts.
Mm-hmm. So basically, I can pick up Tellarite, but nothing specific.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm picking up Tellarite signals, but nothing specific, Captain.
All right. Well, let's see if we can make friends with the bouncer, and I'll go up to him. It's like, is there anything I could do to get myself and 3 friends inside? And I'll start jingling the coin pouch.
So the Gorn looks down at you, because I imagine Gorns are pretty freaking big.
Yeah.
He kind of looks down at you and almost sneers, and he says, "These 3 friends, you mean this one?" And he points at Nalan and Cyril, and then he points at Helong, and he goes, "Well, it's going to cost a lot, I can tell you that much."
Well, I'm sure it's worth it to get out of this rain.
You know, he sees the truth in this, and he says, "Tell you what, I'll make it easy on you. You get her to give me a kiss, and throw in a little latinum, and we can get you inside."
I just look over to see how Halan responds to that.
She's somewhere between like a grimace and she's trying to steel herself in case you order her to do it.
I only imply that I want that to be done.
All right, so here's what's going to happen. And I was kind of wondering if I would get to do this. So Helong steps forward, and she's about the same height as a Gorn. You know, she's pretty freaking tall. And she, squares up, puts a hand on his cheek, reaches in, and then at the very last second before she comes with the kiss, she kind of headbutts him. And as the Gorn kind of reels back, he doesn't get offended, but he just kind of starts laughing, and he says, "Oh, she's got some fire in her. You know what? I like it." And he looks at the rest of you and he says, "All right, fine, fuck it. Give me the latinum and you all can go in."
All right.
So now you hand over the latinum. Helong kind of pats the Gorn's cheek and follows you guys in. So now that you're inside, and I'll kick you over to this map. So now that you're inside the Sapphire Tides, the music is quite loud. The 2-level bar is awash in a dark, dim blue light. It appears to be fairly well furnished, and the motif of the place appears to be oceanic, as you might have expected. Humanoid species of all types can be seen at the bar and the booths, dancing on the main floor. And also of note, there's this holographic pillar of a Bolian dancer with nothing but pasties doing her thing. No one really seems to be paying your group any mind.
I mean, I'm just going to start scanning for Duskmaul.
Okay. I would say this is probably an insight plus science at a difficulty of 2.
Oh, I meant with my eyes.
Oh, with your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd still say it's probably going to be an insight plus... Oh, boy. I guess security? Maybe?
Okay.
Yeah, let's do insight plus security if you're going with your eyes. And I would say that Nalan, Cyril, or Helong could help you, but only one of them can.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Let's have Neelan so we have all the player characters doing stuff.
All right. So that'd be the same thing, whatever, insight plus security, is that what you said, or?
Yes, and for you, you'd only be rolling 1 die.
Okay.
And then I do not have a focus here.
And then it was difficulty 2?
Correct.
Okay, difficulty 2, and then security.
Unless you consider people watching cultural studies. Although in a sense, those are the same thing.
You know, I'll give it to you. Why not?
All right.
No applicable.
It's good to start off your requests as jokes.
Oh, very nice. So yeah, you guys gain 2 momentum.
Awesome.
So you're looking around. You're trying to pick out Tellarites from the crowd, and you pick out a few, and they don't seem to match Duskmaul's description. But as you kind of look up at the second floor and start to head up there, you catch sight out of the corner of your eye. Neelan does anyway. So Nalan, and I'm going to butcher names, sorry. Nalan, out of the corner of your eye, you catch sight of in fact, a portly Tellarite with a jet black beard. He seems to be in a booth with an Orion slave girl. And to put it bluntly, he's currently engaged in interspecies exchange programs. So if you don't interject soon, it might be super awkward.
Right.
I don't know what you mean. Can you elaborate?
Oh Lord. Needless to say that they might start going at it.
Okay. I'm gonna walk over to Han and Sorrel, and kind of point to the corner where he is. You're like, that's our guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
He looks
It's fun.
busy. Well, let's go kill the party.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm going to say to Sorrel and Hylong, can you guys watch the exits in case he runs?
They nod their heads, and since there's really only one staircase that leads up that you're aware of, they will in fact watch it.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then one of them can come with us.
Which
I'll
one?
have Cyril. He stands out a little bit less.
Okay. Let me, because I actually have a map for this too.
Yes.
So let me.
Although Hylong's probably much better at hand-to-hand.
Oh yeah. She
No, she's
has
coming
a
up.
map.
No,
She's coming
yeah,
up.
she comes up, yeah.
Okay, so let me put Cyril on the map. He's guarding the stairs. She's coming with you guys. And I get to kick you guys over to this map. And hopefully the dynamic lighting is working with us today.
Whoa.
Yes.
Oh,
Maybe you guys
look at
can. So I know it's a little faint. I couldn't exactly get the lines to be a bit more bold, but hopefully you can see what's going on. So you guys come up the stairs, make an immediate left, and then another left, and Duskmaul is there in the corner. There are a couple of Gorn security that you see in various places in the bar. One near the stairs, one across the way, and there's probably some more besides. So how would you like to approach Duskmaul?
It's a good question. Any suggestions, Captain?
Can I interject the question real quick?
Sure.
Whenever they entered, were they searched for weapons?
They were not. Which I suppose it would also, I should have also probably mentioned, now that you brought that up, that you guys would have noticed that several, if not a lot, of the people in here have their own weapons. It is very much a you know what I mean. It is a very Western style kind of situation where everyone has a gun and could use it potentially.
So
I
if we aren't
suggest-
careful.
Yeah, I suggest we either lure his entertainment away or we sidle on in. Not in his activity, but approach his footsteps.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Oh my God.
This is what's happening.
Yeah, this is all happening and it's true.
I like the first option, luring the
Yeah.
All right, so how are you going to lure away an Orion slave girl?
It's a good question.
Are we out of money?
I would say at this point you're running very low, yes.
I see. What if we kill the mood instead?
That might be something we could do.
I think we can be good killjoys.
All right, yeah, let's do it.
All right.
So how you killjoying him?
Could just, I don't know.
I'll call out his name.
Okay.
as we walk toward his table.
All right. So you walk towards his table and get a bit closer and call out his name, and he doesn't look up from what he's doing.
This is a fine pickle we're in.
Yes. A little closer to the table, I will.
Heelong will kind of lean into the captain and say, you know, if I want, I could just toss the slave girl aside and we could have words with Duskmaul.
It's always an option.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just go with that.
All right. So I need to roll for
I
Heelong's
encourage
melee.
violence.
Yes. Where's her sheet? There it is. All right. So melee, daring plus security. Here we go. Daring plus security. Difficulty of 1. Applicable focus. Hand-to-hand combat. Yes. Oh, wow. So she actually gained you guys 2 momentum there. So Heelong steps boldly up to the pair of them. And just as they look up to her to, kind of go, what the fuck do you want? Heelong reaches down, grabs the Orion slave girl by the collar, picks her up off of Duskmaul, and deposit her like a small child or a doll we'll say about 3 or 4 feet away from Duskmaul. And as this happens, Duskmaul says, hey, the fuck are you doing?
Do I have an extra transponder?
I would say you do, yes.
I'm just going to tell him you're under arrest. I'm going to clap it on him and signal to the ship that it's time for us to go.
All right, I need you to roll me a same thing, a melee attack, so daring plus security at 1, and I'll roll GM roll to see if Duskmaul. Actually, no, wait, I have a macro for this.
Okay, I'm going to use 1 momentum out of our 5.
Yeah, go ahead.
So daring security.
Yep, difficulty of 1.
And because this is a contested check.
Yep. So if it would roll, there it goes. All you have to do is beat 1, which you do. You get
All right.
You get a momentum too, so you definitely pass. So Tahan, you very deftly pull out the extra transponder and you slap it on Duskmaul. For flavor, I'll say you just literally slap it on his forehead. And at the same time, you key your own communicator to give the ship the signal to beam people out. And before your very eyes, Duskmaul begins to dematerialize and beam away. But as that happens, So let me put Duskmaul off the map. But as that happens, the Orion slave girl starts to yell, and she says, "You useless Gorn, get your asses over here and do something."
Oh, shoot.
And this is where we'll enter combat.
Oh, no.
So,
All right.
I'm just going to give... I'm going to make Tahan my token for this, just so we can do turn order. So, it is your guys' turn first. You see that there are currently 2 Gorn security that you are able to see. It's just a matter of who you want to go first. Do you want a actual player to go first, or do you want the NPCs to act?
Right.
It looks like Cyril is right next to the closest Gorn.
Mm-hmm.
I like having him go first.
Okay. So Cyril is going to kind of read the mood here, and he is going to pull out his own phaser and attempt to fire. Where's his sheet? There it is. Unless anyone else wants to roll for Cyril, I'll do it.
That's fine.
All right.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, ranged attacks are control plus security at 2. Control plus security. Number of D22. Apical focus, no. He gets 2 successes. So he pulls out his own hand phaser and fires it at the Gorn next to him and does a number of damage. Oh, wow. So he is actually able to put the Gorn down because that's an instant injury. So he is able to stun the hell out of this Gorn. And he more or less drops. He almost crumples in on himself and just drops to the floor. So that one is no longer. I'll just move him to the GM layer for now. But yeah, 1 Gorn down. Who would like to go next?
Oh, jeez.
And so this whole combat's taking place while Richaud back on the Arcadia is working on beaming the rest of us out.
Assumedly, yes. Unfortunately,
Okay.
There's no time between when combat starts and the beam out for you to key in and have a conversation.
Right. So I guess I don't know what the ranges are here.
Okay. So if you pull out your ruler tool, anything that is 35 feet or less will be close range. Anything beyond 35 will be medium. And then anything beyond, we'll say 70, is long range.
Okay. Well, this Gorn here at the top isn't in close range, so that means we can do melee combat with him?
If you run up to him and do so, yes.
Right, okay.
But I also believe that your phasers, even the type 1s, are able to get out to medium, no problem.
Okay. Do we want to see a headbutt from Chief Hylong? Elong? How do you say it?
I always butcher her own name. It's Hylong.
Hylong.
Yeah, it's the E-I, I try to think of it as a Y.
Okay.
I don't know. We going for the headbutt or no?
And just for fun, I'll have it be my action and use the direct because I want to see this thing like go nuts.
Oh boy. Okay. So you.
That is the deadly quality, doesn't it?
You mean your directive or her unarmed attack?
Her unarmed attack.
No, her unarmed attack has knockdown and vicious, not deadly.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll do that.
All right. So you kind of nod at Hylong, and she nods back and then charges towards the security Gorn and is going to try to more or less gore him with her horns.
Which attribute do I assist with?
I believe.
I know it's command.
I believe it's presence.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say it's probably best to put it as presence.
Right.
All right, so daring plus security. Daring difficulty 1. Number of D22, applicable focus, yes. So Helion or Hylong passes. Doesn't even need these. Well, I got to roll for the Gorn too. Sorry.
I don't know if you need my focus or not. I mean, if team dynamics comes into play, it would be basically every time I use the direct action, which might be
a little
much.
OP. Yeah. So I would say it definitely depends on your role at this point.
Okay. So am I doing focus or not?
I would say no focus.
Okay.
All right, that one success is all you needed. So Hylong charges forward in a raptor-style fashion and lowers her head and more or less slams into the Gorn and throws him over the railing of the bar down onto the dance floor below. And for shits and giggles, I'll roll her damage, but the falling damage is probably enough to in-cap him. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Since it has Vicious 1, that's a grand total of 6, plus he's knocked down. Yeah, so you just hear a grunt and cry of alarm, and almost like a lizard-like scree, as this particular Gorn is, again, flung over the railing under the dance floor below, and there's a muffled thump, and the music kind of record scratches to a halt as this happens.
Oh.
And then, as the Gorn security begin to respond, it's almost like that scene in the latest Tron where Daft Punk starts playing the really upbeat music.
Yeah.
So the Gorn begin to respond. So one of them comes from the other side over to the east on this map. He's going to move, and I have to check distances here. Yes, he's going to be able to move all the way up to here and see Cyril, and he's going to go for the disruptor shot on Cyril, which he fails at. So Cyril is able to nimbly dodge out of the way as this particular Gorn fires his disruptor pistol at him. And it is now your guys' turn. So I believe Milan and Tahan, both of you can go. Or
I've already gone, but Hylong hasn't.
oh no, you're completely right. Sorry. So Hylong is going to very briefly look over the railing, smile, and then she'll kind of look back and see the other Gorn that's kind of running up, and she will pull out her own phaser and attempt to stun that particular Gorn. So control plus security. This is not hand-to-hand combat, so she doesn't get a bonus. Difficulty 2. Number of D20, yes. No applicable focus. Yeah, she her shot with the phaser goes wide and actually hits someone coming out of the kitchen. So like a waiter coming out of the kitchen is hit in the collateral. And
no.
the tray he was holding just kind of flies up in the air as the guy falls back to the ground, stunned.
Oh.
And now it is Nalan's turn.
And you said the phasers could probably reach medium range, right? The type 1s?
Yeah, so the type 1s can get anywhere between 0 and 70.
Okay. And then that's control plus security?
Correct, at a difficulty of 2.
Okay. So, difficulty 2.
And I think you can also try to get some cover as a minor action after you attack.
Correct.
Okay. Security. 2d20. Nope, I don't have an applicable focus here.
All right, one success. So same thing, your shot goes wide, but thankfully you don't hit any random passersby.
Oh, sweet. Cool. Yeah.
So yeah, we return to the top of the initiative order, and out of the, and I'll zoom out here so everyone can see it on the recording. from out of one of the doors off to the east, two Gorn appear. And I'm spending threat here so that they move at the same time. So a Gorn comes running up to about here. And another Gorn, I'm just going to move them before I do their actions. But the other one moves up to there. And then they are both going to fire. One's going to be at Tahan, and the other one's going to be at Hailong. So let's do Nalan first. Up, so the shot goes wide, impacts the wall behind Nalan, and then for Hailong, same thing. So it blows a hole in or scorches the wall behind her. And we come back around to the players. Who do you want to go at this point? Or do you want to take the moment to try and frantically call the ship, kind of a thing?
I think this is our cue to probably try and get out of here if we can.
Okay. Yeah, I will. Captain to Rochelle, we need beam up as soon as possible.
I'm actually going to spend two threat here to create a complication.
Ooh.
So the communication is garbled, but very barely recognizable. So imagine a bunch of static. And he says, Captain, there's been a solar flare from one of the suns. It's created some extreme interference up here. I can maybe beam out two of you at a time.
Do what you can.
Aye, sir. Who do you want me to beam out first?
Let's do junior officers first. So Hailong and Sorrel.
All right. So,
or actually,
no.
I'm gonna have it be because they're gonna be helping us in combat. So, beam up Neelan, and if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
And Hailong, since she's she's better at close range.
Alrighty. So, we'll say that as the player's turn, you all basically get Hailong and Nalan to beam out. So I'll just move them to the GM layer. And we come back around to the Gorn security. This one here is going to charge at Cyril and attempt to grapple with him. Alright, so they've only rolled one success. As far as Cyril is concerned, it is a daring plus security to difficulty 1. Difficulty 1, security, D20, no applicable focus. Alright, so I believe, and I have to double check the rules here, since no one can assist him on this, both characters succeed. Compare the total momentum generated on each task. They generated the same momentum. In the case of a tie, the active character wins but loses all momentum they generated. So the Gorn is in fact going to be able to grapple and claw at Cyril, dealing a number of damage. But let me roll. Oh, wow. So Cyril is actually injured pretty badly as the Gorn lays into him. He is more or less clawed along his left side, and not only does the cloth of his clothing rip away, but also you see almost like these ribbons of flesh go with it. And you see the stereotypical Vulcan green blood begin to ooze out of these great gashes. But he is effectively out of combat. We come back around to Tahan. You are the only one capable of action at this point. It's probably going to be the next round before you're going to be able to beam out people again.
Okay. I'm going to have to take a shot at the Gorn next to Cyril.
Okay.
So control security.
Yep. Difficulty 2.
And I'm going to spin a momentum since we have 5.
Okay. Yeah, that's certainly enough to hit him. Go ahead and roll your damage.
All right, and this is my type 1 phaser.
All right. So you more or less impact, like you have to aim very carefully not to hit Cyril in the process, but you are able to hit the Gorn in the shoulder, but it doesn't seem to put him down. He looks more agitated than anything else.
I forget. I guess I should have done it beforehand, but you can do different effects with the phasers. I forget which ones they do.
With charge, if it has the charge quality.
It can do intense or piercing or vicious. But I should have done that before I rolled.
I'll let you decide in this instance.
So if I had done vicious, it would be an extra damage, so that would be an injury.
Yep.
I would have liked to have done that.
Okay, I'll allow it. So you are able to stun the Gorn that is tearing into Cyril, and he kind of crumples in on himself and drops Cyril at the same time. And there's this muffled oomph as Cyril hits the ground. And even with his Vulcan composure, you can see that he is visibly in pain.
Yeah. Can I then spend momentum to gain an extra action this turn?
Yeah, you can.
To retain the initiative.
I would say that it wouldn't grant you anything because you've already gone. And
I see.
Cyril is the only other one that could, but he's down at the moment.
Okay, so the only way I could do that is with determination.
Well, even if you were to spend the determination, I'm pretty sure that you couldn't. Well, let me read the rules of determination again. Yes, you would have to roll determine. You would have to use your determination to perform another task.
Okay. The only one I can think of right now is what's important is what's important is how we've lived.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't. For me, losing an officer under my command is not something I'm ready to happen. So I don't know if that will qualify or not.
I'll give it to you. Why not?
Okay. I'm going to move over to Cyril and do anything I can to, because if you have an injury at the end of a scene, you die. Is that what happens?
No.
Oh.
I'll pull up the rules just to be extra sure. But basically, an injury more or less puts you out of combat. And if you have an injury, if the injury came from a lethal attack, then things can only get worse. Then yes, in this case, if it was a lethal attack, unless they received aid, they would die. But that's at the end of the scene, kind of a thing. If the injury came from a non-lethal attack, then the character in question recovers from their injury at the start of the next scene. So yes, I would say in this instance, it would probably be a good thing for you to run up and first aid him.
Okay. What kind of task is that?
I believe that's going to be something plus medicine. We'll say either daring or control. I'll let you do either.
Okay. Just briefly, let's see what 3-6.
Actually, it's a daring plus medicine.
Daring medicine?
Yep, first aid is daring plus medicine at a difficulty of 1.
Okay.
And a side note here is you can spend 2 momentum to get the patient back into the fighting right away.
I'll do that, yeah. So it's daring medicine. I'm going to spend 3 momentum then to roll an extra die and do.
Okay.
Because my daring medicine is bad. So it's difficulty 1?
Yep.
Okay. I do not have a focus here.
Well, you only needed the 1 success.
Right.
So Cyril is able to pop on up. You basically what you do is you run over, and you don't have a med kit on hand, but you do have some like emergency some sort of spray that will heal up wounds. So you just run over and spray the biofoam along his wounds very quickly. And Cyril grits his teeth and says, "Thank you, Captain. If you don't mind, I'm going to..." And he just kind of points his phaser at the Gorn that are coming towards you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's at this point that, since I feel like we've neglected Monday and Matic for a little while, we're gonna keep the same scene, but we're gonna cut to Matic and Monday. So Monday, at this point, you've been leading these guards around for quite a while, and they're starting to get impatient.
Man, that kid, slippery.
Starting to wonder. We should just be shooting all kids on sight, I think. And his fellow goes, "You know what? That's not a half bad idea." And then they both look at you, Monday, and they say, "You know what? Screw it. We've wasted enough time on this as it is. If you see the kid again, shoot him for us, and if you bring him to us, we'll reward you handsomely."
Nice. Where can I find you?
They just kind of point towards the entrance of the spaceport.
Fair enough. Nice bit of pocket money. Well, good day, chaps. Just remember the name. Maddox.
Poor Maddox. Maddox, what are you... Oh, right. I was going to tell you what was in his logs. Sorry. The general gist of his logs is that he goes on at length about looking forward to seeing this character or individual known as Dura. And it's about as descriptive as you would want it to be or not want it to be. You're basically guessing that this Dura individual is both his contact here on V7H and might be a bit more intimate.
Just kind of fast forward through the other parts, but I try to figure out if he says where he's gonna meet her and things like that.
Sure enough, he's going to meet her at the Sapphire Tides.
All right. I want to open up one of the boxes to see what's in it.
All right. It's easy enough for you to open it up. And when you open up the box, you see that there are 10 devices that match the one that was used on the Arcadia's port phaser plasma conduit.
Okay. I'm gonna pocket a couple of them just in case.
You couldn't really pocket them, but you could certainly tag the box for beam out.
Yeah, I'll just kind of notify Rousseau and tell him whenever he's ready, just beam this out. And then I'm going to go about trying to get the ship up and running.
Okay. I'll say that it's probably going to be a daring plus engineering at a difficulty of 3 to get this thing running. And you've got the momentum to spare, I think.
I used a lot of it to heal Cyril, so we've got 1 left.
Well, one's better than none.
I mean, I can spend it, or I can give the DM more threat. Or I could do both.
What was the difficulty?
Difficulty of 3.
Hmm. I mean, I think it's up to you. I don't mind either way, but that's just me.
Um, that won't do me good.
Because it would be 1 momentum, then 2 threat to do 2.
Yeah. Right. Or I could just spend the 1 momentum.
I say go with what you feels best at this point.
I'll just spend the 1 momentum, and then alien engineering technology. Would that be a good focus?
I would say either that or small craft.
I don't have small craft.
All right, well, either one would apply here.
All right.
Hey, look at that. You got the successes you needed. So, you in fact are able, again, fiddling with the control panel and the computer interface, you're able to fire up the shuttle. The engines begin to hum into life, and Ensign Monday, you're going to return to Matic at about the same time as this happens. So,
Okay.
you would notice that the ship's almost ready for departure.
Nice. Nice going, Maddox. I don't think we've got too much longer either.
I'm going to Monday. You good at you good for flying this thing, or?
Oh, yeah, no problem.
All right. I don't know what's going on with the other guys, but that box right there has the devices that was used on the power system. So this is our guy.
We've done all right, and now we just need to get this thing back to our ship. Would I know if they would scan ships as they come and go?
I would say you're not sure.
Okay. I mean, Maddox, I'm not sure if they'll scan ships as they come and go here. I can't imagine they keep cargo manifests or anything, but if there's anything you can do to dampen those boxes extra, I don't know. It's probably not even worth it, to be honest. I'll just get us going.
Yeah. Why don't you keep it running? I need to go to this place called like the Sapphire something or another. Apparently that's where this guy is. Or his woman is, at least. I'm assuming we haven't had any contact with the captain. Like, we have no idea they're in combat right now.
Yeah, you have no idea they're in combat, but you would know that the captain and Nalan and the rest were going to the Sapphire Tides. Like, you would have caught that in the conversation. So you know where they are.
So yeah, I'll just say that I'm going to go meet up with the captain and them at the Sapphire. If you start getting a bad feeling, or if too many questions start getting asked of you as to why you just sitting in a running ship, get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me twice.
All right. So I guess the main question I'm going to ask of you is Matic going to call ahead to the captain and the rest of the crew, or are you just going to kind of proceed silently on foot? Because it does make a difference.
I guess I'll call ahead. Well, damn, I can't just send like a text message, can I, in Star Trek?
No, unfortunately not.
Because my thought process is they're in a very loud, very public club. They're gonna have a hard time hearing. Plus, I'm assuming whenever I talk to Riche about tagging the box, like, or would I know about the solar flare, or like would I have had any sort of like communication issues with anyone so far?
Not on planet. It's only going off planet that you have difficulty with.
Okay. but yeah, I'm gonna have to go silently because I'm just gonna assume that it's too loud in there for them to hear what I'm trying to say.
Alrighty, fair enough. In that case, we're going to cut back to the bar, and it is now the Gorn's turn. This one here is going to actually try to run up to the captain and do the same thing to you that his fellow did to Cyril. So I need you to roll me a daring plus security. And the name of the game is to roll better than a 1. And it's a difficulty 1.
All right.
Damn it, forgot to do it again.
Ooh, I see 4 successes.
I think I might have accidentally clicked focus on.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, but it was 2 2s.
Yeah, so you still get 2 successes, which is enough. So you, more or less, as the Gorn runs at you and tries to throttle you, you duck low and deliver a sucker punch to his gut. It doesn't damage or anything, but it definitely stops him from trying to grab hold of you. And then, as we roll back around to y'all's turn, Cyril is going to point his phaser at the very same Gorn that just attacked you. And let's see how he does. Control plus security. Number D22. No applicable focus. How'd we do? Hey, he got 2 successes. Very good. And then how many challenge die does he get? He gets 6. All right. Good job, Cyril. Very good job. So Cyril does something very similar to what you did to stun the one that had attacked him, Captain. He changes the charge on the phaser and it very deftly stuns the Gorn next to you. So he's gone. And then I'll put in GM layer 2. So we roll back around to the last Gorn before we get to the top of the round. And he's going to pull out his disruptor and fire at the captain, which he fails at. So again, the disruptor bolt flies past you, impacts the wall, etc. But then, as we come around to the top of the order, unless you tell Rasho to stop, he will beam both the captain and Cyril back up to the Arcadia.
Yeah, I've got no reason not to tell him to do that.
Okay. So again, for you two, there's a short beam out period, and you arrive in the transporter room.
Immediately, I'll ask if our prisoner is in the brig.
Yeah, we moved him into the brig as soon as we got a hold of him.
All right. And let's get contact with the rest of our away team. Captain to Matic.
This is Matic. What's up, Captain?
What's your status with the shuttle?
Shuttle's up and running and Monday's in it. I'm on the way to meet y'all at the Sapphire Tides.
Belay that action. We are back aboard the ship with the prisoner. If you can get the shuttle up to the Arcadia, we can leave the system.
Alright, sounds a good idea to me. Everything good?
We had a little tussle, but we're all fine.
Alright, so then I'm gonna try to make my way back to Monday.
Okay. Then sure enough, you get back to Monday before he pieces out. So yeah, right before we take our break, I'll say that you are able to, Monday you're able to fly up the shuttle to the Arcadia and put it in the shuttle bay. But let's take a 5-minute break here-ish. Be back at 5:53 my time. So 5-minute break.
All right.
Burb.
Just so you know, there is a Star Trek Adventures option on Twitch.
Oh, they finally added it.
Yeah, I think it's been there for a couple of weeks or so.
Huh. Well, I guess I'll do future streams under that as well, because I thought everything else was going under like D&D. So if they've added a special category, that's great. But yeah, BRB. All right, I'm back.
As am I.
All right, so who do we have? We have Tahan. I think we have Monday. I heard something there.
You have me.
Oh, we have Nalan. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm here too.
Okay. What about Matic? Is Matic back yet? Guessing not. That's cool. Gives me time to move tokens around.
Do.
I'm here.
All right, cool.
Alright.
So we'll pick right back off where we right before we were for the break, and all of you are now aboard the Arcadia, and you've all reconvened on the bridge. As far as Cyril is concerned, he's been taken to sickbay to have his wounds looked at. And Chief Hylong is currently with Ensign Los in the brig, watching over Duskmaul. But yeah, you guys are back aboard ship. What would you like to do?
Ensign Monday, can you get us back to Narendra Station, please?
Yes, sir.
All right. So what happens is as you take the Arcadia out of polar orbit, you realize that there is a much larger Orion vessel that has entered orbit about the same time as you start to leave it. And Rochelle very quickly realizes that this is the same slaver ship that you've encountered before. It is Etha's ship, and he relays this information to the rest of you.
Belay that order. Monday. Take us somewhere. I'm going to pull up the location back to the asteroid belt where we first fought this the slaver.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, Monday, I want you to take us back there. Make sure she sees our warp trail.
All right.
All right. So Monday, and again, I wish Rasho was here so he could correct me. But basically, if I remember correctly, how warp works for starship combat, quote unquote, is you spend a number of power equal to how fast you want to go. So, for example, the Arcadia, if I'm again remembering correctly, has a total of 9 power, and your maximum speed is 8, warp 8. So it's a matter of how fast you want to punch it, and it'll also be a engines plus con roll for you, or engines plus con for the ship, and then a daring plus con for Monday.
I'll do my roll.
Okay.
You said engines.
Engines and con for the ship.
Okay.
Difficulty?
I will say that this is at a difficulty of 3. Mostly due to the interference from the binary star. Alright, so that's 2 successes.
Okay, I can reduce that by 1 through push the limits. When you attempt a con task that has increased difficulty due to environmental conditions or damage to the engines.
Sounds good.
In that case, I think we've already succeeded.
Well, he hasn't
You
rolled
said
yet.
it was- oh, okay. I thought you said it was difficulty 3.
It is, but it's a difficulty 2. Because his roll could still matter, could complicate, but it doesn't. That's what matters.
Okay.
So I believe you gain, 2 momentum here? Yeah, 2 momentum. So yeah, Monday, you very cheekily, I guess would be the way to say it, you basically cause the engine signature of the Arcadia to almost act like a beacon as you begin to spool up the warp engines. And Etha's ship begins to turn in your direction, but before it can get in range or do so much as charge its disruptor banks, you jump to warp, and you take the Arcadia all the way back to the asteroid field where you had first encountered them. So I'll kick you guys over to this map in case we have starship combat, and I got to do a little cleanup as it is. So let's see. You guys would be warping in somewhere over here on this side of the nebula.
So, while we're in transit, I would like to have sent a secure message to Admiral Haru, telling her that we succeeded on our mission and that we are waiting to see if the Orions engage us in combat.
Okay. Well, since you've got about you've got more than a handful of hours on hand, Haru will actually reply back, and she'll say, "Captain, I don't want to rush you, but the quicker we get Duskmaul here and start to interrogate him, the faster we can determine how many ships have been affected by this. Don't get me wrong, I'd like to see that Orion slaver that disrupted the training grounds, but your top priority is to get Duskmaul back to us."
All right, I will have us adjust course.
Okay. So Monday, I'm assuming on the captain's orders, you adjust course.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll kick you to this map. About, we'll say, what did I say? It was 12 hours to get there. It'll be, another 12 hours back to Narendra Station. So my question is, actually, I'll put you on this map instead. My question is, what do you guys specifically do during that 12-hour time span? And I guess we'll start at the top of the Discord order. So, Captain, what are you going to do?
I'm going to spend this time interrogating Duskmaul with the help of any of my officers, probably the counselor for sure, definitely a security personnel as well.
Okay. And I'm assuming you're doing this in the brig.
Yes.
All right. What we'll say happens is you go to the brig on deck 3, and as I said, Ensign Los and Chief Hailong are currently present, and there's a very disgruntled Tellarite on the other side of a force field.
And at this point, I've found Matic has shown us the devices in his shuttle.
I mean, unless he chooses not to.
I would have been reverse engineering them. So yeah, I would have been like, hey, here's the devices. Let me take a couple of them and reverse engineer them. And then if you want me at the interrogation, I can go.
Okay. Yeah, that's very helpful. But yeah.
Okay. So we'll get more to that when we roll around to Matic to see how he does. But for the time being, I think it's going to be just the captain and Hailong that are conducting this interrogation.
I think I'd also like Neelan to be.
Oh yeah, right, Neelan or Nalan. Is it Neelan or Nalan?
Nalan.
Okay.
My apologies.
Nah, it's all right.
It's okay. It's whatever.
We all butcher names. It happens, even to the best of us. So let me squeeze Nalan in here too.
So we're all pretty packed in here.
Oh yeah, it is a small ass brig. Zoom in a bit. Yeah, so you all are more or less cramped into this place, and Duskmaul, as he sees you all kind of filter in, he just kind of scoffs and says, "Let me guess, you're gonna start to try to interrogate me, aren't you? Well, I'll tell you right now, you can go scrub plasma vents with your teeth. I ain't telling you shit."
Well, you're only going to hurt yourself. We already have enough proof to put you behind bars.
Then there's no point in me telling you anything else.
I don't think you understand how this works.
You
talking to us only helps yourself.
Hailong kind of very aside asks the captain, do you want me to play bad cop or?
Not yet.
All right, so she just continues standing in the back, very menacingly in the corner. But Nalan, with your telepathy, you're gonna pick up that even though on what Duskmaul is saying is he's not going to cooperate, there's almost a sense of panic in his thoughts, like he's desperately trying to figure out a way to get out of this.
Okay.
I mean, I'll just continue on. And any information you can give us might help you get your sentences reduced.
Not that it matters. All your Federation prisons are all just cushy, padded cells. I'll probably have a better time there than I did on V7H.
I'm sure we could find a cell that's less comfortable for you.
He just says nothing, but he stares very pointedly at Nalan.
Oh,
Duskmaul.
He looks.
I don't
at
know
you.
if you are aware, but my counselor is a Betazoid. We can take the information we need if we have to, but that doesn't help you. I'm giving you the opportunity to help yourself. Either way, we're going to get our information.
You mean you're going to violate the security and sanctity of my mind to get what you want? I don't think you have the balls to do it.
in response, can I try to do it?
I mean, you certainly can. I will say that just because this might come up later, and this is more of a note for myself in the future.
Yeah.
This is kind of that gray area. If to use Shield of Tomorrow, for example, you know how they wanted to mind meld with Stupid Sexy Zazaret? This is not as blatantly bad, but this is still definitely a gray area for someone in Starfleet.
Yes, I'm very aware of that. But it's tricky.
Yeah.
I'll admit that.
All right. Well, if you do want to go ahead and try to scan his mind, I'll call it a daring plus medicine. Seems like it would fit here best.
Now, if it needs to be fair, I was bluffing. The captain was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So, I mean, you would probably know that, though. Because
Right.
you have a sense of everyone in the room. Like, I don't actually want to do that. I'm trying to incentivize this guy into talking.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because
You
I
would,
don't-
In that case,
yeah. I was gonna say you would pick that much
I'm gonna
fun
roll
sensor
back.
thoughts like
Yeah.
the surface spots. You would know that.
okay. Then never mind. Yeah. Not going to probe deeper then.
Okay. So Duskmaul just kind of continues being belligerent and glaring at all of you.
So I'm trying to process now what information we need from Duskmaul. Obviously, reasons why, what his connection to the Orions are.
Hylong actually chips in at this point as you're deliberating what to say next, and she whispers to the both of you. She says, "Didn't we find him with an Orion slave girl? Don't they have pheromones?"
That is an excellent observation. Captain to Dr. Oh God.
Doré.
Doré. What is Swirl's condition?
Well, the good news is Cyril's probably going to be back on his feet here in a couple of minutes, but I'm going to be taking him off active duty for about 3 days so that he can recover properly.
Very well. If you have a moment, I would request your presence in the brig.
Let's just pack everybody in there. Get every...
Get the entire crew in there. Just,
Uh,
it's a clown car now.
But Doré says, "Of course, Captain. I'm assuming you want me to bring along a tricorder?"
yes, we're going to be looking for Orion pheromones.
Ah, of course. I'll be there momentarily. And sure enough, he arrives probably about 7 minutes later. He shows up. And he says, "What do you want me to do, Captain? Who am I scanning?" "I'm assuming him." And he points at Duskmaul.
That'd be correct.
Alrighty. So, through the force field, he goes ahead and scans Duskmaul. And he kind of almost chuckles and he says, "Well, that's probably what you expected, Captain. He's definitely been tainted by some Orion pheromones. I can certainly try to reverse the effect, but I think it probably goes without saying that his actions haven't been his own for probably quite some time if these elevated chemical levels in his brain chemistry are any indication."
Thank you, Doctor. How long would you expect for him to return to normal?
Well, if I had him in sickbay, I'd be putting him under almost like a false coma to slowly wean him off the pheromones. There's very much a heavy withdrawal effect from what we know about the Orion pheromones. So to liken it to a very old Earth drug, I would say maybe something like weaning someone off heroin. It wouldn't be great for him, but it is doable.
Would you advise that?
I suppose that depends on the state of mind you want him to be in when we arrive at Narendra Station. if I start this now, he's not going to be available for interrogation for at least a couple days.
But if you don't do this, his withdrawal will be worse. Correct?
In the long run, yes. But as much as I'm aware of, the withdrawal process won't begin for at least a week.
How is Duskmaul responding to all that?
He doesn't really seem to give a shit. At this point, he's kind of like gone back to that bench and just sat down and is just glaring at all of you. He's very much not cooperating.
I'll turn to him and I'll ask him if he wants this medical help.
There's nothing wrong with me. And then he looks at Duray and he says, "You know what, Doc? I got something for you to check out." He stands up, turns around, drops his pants, and moons you all.
Oh, great.
So Duray kind of looks away and says, I'll be returning to sickbay now, Captain, if you don't mind."
Thank you, Doctor. And then I'll press the button myself to put the force field back up.
Okay.
Well, I think we're done here, staff.
Alrighty.
All right.
So, that was what the captain did with Nalan for at least several hours. Let's cut to Matic. Matic, I believe you were reverse engineering the devices, yes?
And at the same time, playing through his logs, trying to see when he picked them up, how he picked them up, who he picked them up from. Try to see if I can connect some dots.
Okay. And I'm assuming you're doing this in engineering?
Yeah. Either engineering or in the shuttle bay.
Okay.
That way if, shit goes sideways.
Probably a good call. Let me move you to the shuttle bay. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. My only flaw with this map is, as awesomely detailed as it is, it's just a pain in the ass to move it around on Roll20. There we go. So you're in the shuttle bay. And Chief Gadget's there if you want her help. She's mostly going over the shuttle itself, doing her own scans. But as far as doing, we'll handle the log portion first. So the log you get as you play through Duskmaul's personal log is, now that you have some time to sit down and listen through it and read through it, he really seems enamored with this Dura person. The very first mention of her is that, to put it bluntly, a green-skinned vixen that tempted him with the Apple of Eden.
All right. How long ago does he give star dates, or would I have to go into the logs to see it was recorded? But if that's whenever he met her, I just kind of want to know how long he's been under her control, kind of thing.
I gotcha. There are star dates attached to the logs. This particular one, when he first met her, is about 6 months ago.
Okay.
But you'll get more. So as you, again, continue to go through the log, you start to get almost I would call them nervous ranting or nervous babbling. As, he goes on at length to say, she told me to plant this device here. I don't know if I can get into that area, but I got to do it for her. I don't want to piss her off. And you'll find about 6 of these similar types of logs. And one of them is indeed the time in which the Arcadia device was planted. But the other 5 are either on Narendra Station itself or in ships that are passing through to the Shackleton Expanse.
Is there a way I can contact the chief engineer at Narinda and just kind of tell him I found Duskmaul, or just kind of like get in touch with him?
Oh yeah, sure. You can just walk over to the console that Chief Gadget's usually at, and you can make a communication from there. So I actually didn't think I'd have to introduce this NPC, but we will. So you call up Narendra Station, and sure enough, Chief Engineer Enran is very quick to respond, and he says, Lieutenant Maddock, yes? Chief Engineer of the Arcadia. What can I do for you?
The device that sabotaged my ship, we found the guy. He has a crate with some more. Is there a way you can send me over the refit logs for ships over the past 5 months, just to see what ships he may have had access to? There's at least 5 devices unaccounted for, according to the logs.
Of course, I'll send you those logs, but it would also help if you sent your findings to us as well. That way we can collaborate on our efforts.
I can definitely do that. Give me a second, and I'll send over the schematics and any sort of telemetry data I could get that would allow us to find the devices.
Okay. So we'll say you spend about the same amount of time as the whole interrogation scene, just interfacing with Enran and the data. Between the two of you, you are definitely able to narrow down the specific ships that may have been affected by this device plant.
In the logs, does he ever say, like, oh, she wanted me to put it on the weapon system this time, or the shield system this time? Or is it just she wants me to put it on the ship?
The first couple are she just wanted to put it on the ship, but as you seem to have surmised, the later entries are very specific. So yes, it's very specifically for the Arcadia to put it on her port phaser array kind of thing. Another couple instances, like one ship, which you would have identified as your good friend, the USS Verdant, has a device planted on the shuttle bay the main shuttle bay force field system.
Yeah, moment I know that, I'm just gonna get a hold of Ujessa and pass that along to her, and hope she passes it along to the Verdant.
Alrighty, she can certainly do that. Alright, so that's what you're doing. Monday, what are you up to?
I'm just sitting in this pilot seat, making sure we're good and not, ready to react to anything that comes up.
Okay. Alright, well, it's pretty standard up at the con. Nothing really going on there. Trying to think how I want to handle this. So we'll say, for the sake of argument, it's probably about 8 hours later when Captain Tahan, you will receive a communique directed to you on a secured channel from Admiral Haru.
Am I at the bridge on the bridge at this time?
I would say yeah, unless you wanted to be somewhere else.
Okay, I'll take the message in my quarters.
Okay. So you head to your quarters, and as soon as you sit down and put in your security code, Admiral Haru's face pops up, and she says, "What you've found so far in his logs, what your crew has found, has been handled. We've been able to find the remaining devices. My one concern, though, is whoever this Dura person is. Could it be possible that he met with her during your mission?"
Yes, he was. There was an Orion woman with him when we found him, although at the time we did not know the significance of that fact.
Well, as much as I would have loved to have her in custody too, I don't think it's prudent to have you turn around and try to capture her. For your first detached duty, Captain, you seem to have performed admirably. I will note so in my own log, but as soon as you drop off Duskmaul with the station security, you are free to continue your mission of exploration in the Expanse.
Thank you very much. But as you'll soon note in my logs, I must give commendation to my my away team, particularly Sorrel.
Of course. And then she just kind of nods her head and just kind of cuts the comms.
At that point, I will message the doctor.
Okay.
Doctor, is our patient Sorrel? Would he be willing to have a visitor right now?
I sent him back to his quarters about 5 hours ago, so it's just a matter of finding him there, I suppose. Just as long as you don't have him on the holodeck climbing or doing anything vigorous, it should be fine.
I have no such plans. Thank you, Doctor. And I would then make my way down to Lieutenant Sorrel's quarters to, just talk to him and thank him for what he did.
Okay. So you actually catch him mid-meditation, but he doesn't seem to mind. He invites you into his quarters and he says, Captain, I appreciate you visiting and checking up on me. I am quite well now, thanks to Dore's excellent skilled work.
Oh, I have no doubt in his abilities, but I'm going to be giving you a commendation for work, but and I want to thank you for your courage in battle, but I want your honest opinion if we took any undue risks during the away mission.
Well, I would think that personally I would have liked to have taken that Orion woman and questioned her. It is my understanding, sir, that the women in the Orion species are the ones in charge. She might have had information that could have proved vital. But as you humans say, hindsight is 20/20.
Yes. I agree. That was a missed opportunity. But Starfleet has been made aware of that situation, and it does appear that she did have some influence over Duskmaul.
Well, it would not surprise me, sir. Tellarites are not as skilled in shielding their minds from the effects of such things.
No, apparently not. Well, I'll leave you to your meditations. And again, thank you for some excellent service today.
Of course, Captain. Thank you for visiting.
And I'll head back to my quarters. Or I'll probably go to my office to finish my duty shift.
Okay. So the one last little scene we'll have before we call the session is Ensign Monday. You again get a communique from your favorite uncle.
Oh, nice.
Question just becomes,
Great.
Weekend plans on Rise.
I'm gonna. I'll take it on my quarters again.
Okay. One sec. So you take it in your quarters, and sure enough, Ulrich kind of pops up on screen, and he says, "So I hear you may have visited V7H."
Just make it a secure line again.
Okay.
I might have.
Well, I mean, I'm only guessing. They didn't exactly mention you by name in the reports, but apparently some woman named Dura was really pissed that some goons, for lack of a better term, stole away one of her prospects.
Dura. Can't say I recognize that name.
Yeah, the only reason I know this is because friend of a friend kind of thing. It's one of those situations where it's best that you don't know how I got this information.
That's alright. So what's she gonna send someone after him, or?
She is currently deferring to Sven, as far as I know. Apparently, I probably should have mentioned this up front. Apparently, she's like his third or fourth in command of the operations in the Expanse.
Oh. Oh, that's a bit embarrassing for her to lose, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, she's absolutely furious.
I don't really know where he is, to be honest.
And Ulrich kind of smiles at you and he says, well, yeah, it's good seeing you, but we best keep this comm short in case it's being tracked.
Sounds good to me.
You take care, Monday.
You too, Uncle.
Alright, so the comm line goes dark. So yeah, did anyone have anything they wanted to do as kind of a last minute thing before we wrap up the session?
Nope.
Down here.
I guess I'd like to try to learn how to make those devices.
Okay. We'll say you're able to reverse engineer one of the devices on the trip back. It's a pretty crude device. It more or less just is a corrosive agent that is introduced via almost like a spray mechanism, and then there's a small internal power supply that overloads to destroy the device once its payload has been delivered. But yeah, I think this is where we'll stop the session. So for those of you watching on the stream, bye bye.